PrankKids have become that much of a dominant force for this breakdown, for this regional, that it's very interesting, actually. Don't beg the 33.8% of you guys that have not smashed the crap out of the subscribe button. Smash it so we can get to 102,000. We have the iFest where geeks gather regional breakdown for you guys here for the 2022 season. And these results are anything but what I really expected here, actually. The highest represented deck for the top cut for this event was actually PrankKids, with 3 decks in the top cut for that. What in the world? Those are amazing turnaround numbers here, and I think a lot of you guys are going to be looking at this going, really? PrankKids Adventure? They were a combination of both builds, actually. The adventure list and the non-adventure list. So that's one big thing to really consider when you're looking at this regional breakdown, is just straight, holy crap. PrankKids had a lot of representation here. Now, second highest represented deck in the room was actually double Sword Soul here. Now, Sword Soul actually ended up winning this regional here, which I can't say that I'm particularly shocked about that in the long run. All things considered, Sword Soul is still a powerhouse, especially when it comes down to like just the pure synchro variants and what the deck can actually put on the field. I think a lot of players look at that deck and they very much underestimate the power structure that it has here. We had one virtual world. Now, that list is the one that kind of piques my interest, though. We have seen a lot of, I guess, like changes throughout the format here with Virtual World, since Brave is now a part of that particular engine that you can kind of pick up and find success with. We had one Brigade list, okay, so standard stuff there, you would think, right? And then we had one Phantom Knight list here, running it on back across the table here and going, hi, I'm still scythe locking you and making you very unhappy. So it's a pretty standard breakdown, right? Let's go take a look at those deck lists, shall we? All right, so the first list we actually have here is Robert Miles' first place Sword Soul list. Now, straight off the bat here, yes, we still are playing the 10-Yi package. Yes, we are doing Aurora Dawn shenanigans. Now, it's honestly why this deck is absolutely such a scary thing right now, is because once you establish those tokens and you can start making those synchro boards, a lot of decks cannot handle just a massive like cheese out, setting up and breaking down, negating, doing what it does. All right, plus the 10-Yi engine is just free resources everywhere. You know, the fact that the 10-Yis effectively don't have a lock on them for just their ability to be used off freely for synchros is very scary for a lot of players. A lot of players don't know how to handle those certain decks. So I would honestly give this a build, give this a consideration, and maybe, hey, you know, maybe at the end of the day, you know, Swords will be something that you want to try here in the upcoming format. All right, second place was actually PrankKids. No Brave package needed, ladies and gentlemen. Is there anything out of the ordinary here that yells expensive in the main deck? No. 95% of the PrankKids engine just got the reprint, all right? I think the most expensive thing in the deck here is Ash Blossoms and the one copy of the Infinite Permanence. But if you're looking at something that would be deemed a little bit more budgetary, this is a competitive deck that you might want to, you know, consider. I think the cool thing about this list here, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that you can actually adjust this and play the Brave engine if you really want to, all right? You can get your DLC, effectively, is what I'm getting at here for this. So I think that this build, showing that even post-new format here, that you can still pick up and play the old stuff, is actually a very good learning experience for the player base, and I think that that knowledge is going to be very important to maintain here. Now, as we continue on here, third place was another Sword Soul variant. Now, this list is going to start getting really cheesy very quickly here. So we are maining one token collector, which that's interesting, and we are main decking Ye Old Mare, which gives us easier synchro lines, right, in theory, because you can just go Yazi, pop down, and do your thing. I see we're also main decking double Cosmic Cyclone here. We have the Call By in the main deck so we can dodge hand traps come up. We also have the double Crossout Designator here. Now, I feel like that this build was built to handle, I would say, scarier things in the format. But with that being said, seeing that this deck was able to dodge and do as well as it actually did here in this tournament, with like the amount of tech choices that this deck has present in it, I think that this deck is absolutely something worth taking a look at. All right, another PrankKids list. You know what? So we have pure PrankKids, we have a Brave PrankKids list here in a second, and this one's playing the Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer package. That is 3 different builds of crap that you can do with PrankKids, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give it up for diversity! Yay! It's amazing what little sub-splashes of card choices can really do to a metagame, ladies and gentlemen. The other thing that I find very interesting here is this deck is actually meaning talents and rolls. Talents has been pretty much a big backseat for a majority of this format. I think a lot of people just kind of gave up on talents because there hasn't been really much of like anything really worth taking advantage of out of talents. So to see that that's still doing something here for a deck like this, okay, good success, I suppose, ladies and gentlemen. Next up here, we have, this is our virtual world list. So this is not actually playing the Brave package. Now, we are actually main decking the Necro Banshee in the Zombie World. That's some innovation. Beatrice dropped the Necro Banshee 5-head. Go ahead and activate Zombie World on resolution of the Flundereese player that you're playing against, possibly just wanting to quit the game at that point in time. That's an awesome tech choice. We also have the Boulder Cock built into the main deck as well. What a savage. Man, we really went full speed ahead here and built some really interesting tech choices into this. Outside of that, I don't see anything that screams too out of the ordinary here, except for, really, I actually, seeing that this got 5th place, might not surprise a lot of you guys, and a lot of you guys might just be like, oh, well, you know, it's just 5th place, Robbie, out of a top 8 of a regional, but that's innovation, ladies and gentlemen. I like that. Next up here is our Brave PrankKids package. So, as I said, you had 3 versions of this deck that went really hard. The problem, I think, with this build that might have been a little bit more of a hindrance here is this build is very, very, very heavy in the anti-fun department. You have triple Ghost Bell. For the love of God, I think that this player was a lot more afraid of something like maybe Eldritch, more of those Scythe decks here, that maybe when some subpar decks kind of creeped under the radar, you know, maybe you lost some value in those droplets, for example, here, that you might have overcommitted to the heavy price of main decking. But this deck was still able to make it in to top cut, and it still performed very well. And as I said, when you have this much level of diversity across 3 decks that are pretty much on the same engine, doing all effectively different things at points, it's very interesting. Next up here is Brigade. What in the heck is going on with this Brigade list? We have Ecclesias built into this thing? We're just doing this just so we can play Nadirs? What? So Ecclesia searches for Fleur-de-Lis. We're not playing, I guess we're not playing Punishments, but what is going on with the logic behind this? We have the 1 alpha, which is fine. See, we have the Hobbier Squadron here. Oh, okay, we're doing the Obedience School shenanigans in here. We have Double Chalice for board breaking in here. Looking at this list on paper kind of hurts my head a little bit, but I understand the Obedience Schooled Climb Up package is a lot of value, and technically with an Ecclesia engine on like the Subburner here, that just generates a little bit of extra advantage for this deck. So I guess in the long run, this is something to try, considering that this did work out, but this is such a strange abnormality at this point in time. All right, next up here, oh, look, it's Phantom Knights. We found one back in 8th place where they belong. No Scythe shenanigan. Actually, we're not even Scythe locking our opponent with this. Look, guys, it's a Phantom Knight player trying to be original. Nothing wrong with that, if you want my honest opinion. See that we're actually doing Mass Change 2 shenanigans in here. Huh. I guess that's kind of interesting. Wow. Huh. Was it successful and it worked out for them? I would say, yeah. I mean, they top 8'd a regional with this. But overall, this is kind of interesting. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is your regional breakdown for the iFest and Flex Gaming event, guys. Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. And I'll see your beautiful faces back here later on the day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.